Hello, my name is Phantom GG, and today I am making a video VOD review on the request of team leader Luke, the leader of team One Chance, and today he requested that for the team trials that I do a VOD review on Sandbox versus Kingzone. Overall, I was unfortunately not able to see what order the coaches chose to pick the champions in. This is also patch 9.14 versus 9 while we're on patch 9.15. Overall, there's no real major differences between 9.14 and 9.15. If I remember correctly, like the only real major change was Wayne's more relevant on 9.15 than he is on 9.14. And then on 9.15, people are discovering the full uses of Vlad again. But overall, 9.14, 9.15 are just about the same patch. So the meta for 9.14 is still relevant for 9.15. So that being said, let's get to it. Like I said, I was not able to see the order we picked the champions in. However, the one thing that I can say is I would 100% like Sandbox's draft way more than Kingzone's. So let's talk about the goals of each draft one at a time. So Sandbox has Karma, Xinjiao, Akali, Jace, and Tom Kench. Later on, I'm going to find out that Karma switches out with the Jace. So it's going to be Karma ADC, which makes a lot more sense. And this is a really good early game comp to mid game comp that specializes in many things. They can 1-3-1, they can poke and siege, they can do swift rotations with the Tom Kench ultimate, and they can make picks in the jungle by threatening the Karma pick potential and the Akali pick potential. We also have just like I said, really good poke for sieging. This is an early to mid game team, and overall, even their late game is no slouch either, because they can still poke you out or split push you out. Now let's go on to Kingzone. Kingzone is very late game focused. They 100% want the Varus and the Azir to make late game and made to create the majority of the plays for them. They decided to go for the Skarner to help create picks and make it easier for Azir and Varus to do their job, with the Aatrox to make a bit of chaos. And overall, I actually do not like their draft at all, because the thing is, I'm going to assume that they picked the Aatrox early, and if you picked the Aatrox early, in that same draft, you would 100% want the Sejuani over Skarner, because the Sejuani is able to combo with his team more fluently. It's able to just add ultimate upon ultimate upon ultimate. So I genuinely do not understand why they didn't pick the Sejuani before Sandbox banned it. Because Sejuani plus Aatrox is very nice synergy, and then Sejuani plus Varus is also nice synergy because the ultimate upon ultimate CC. And when you think about it, even when you get to late game with Kingzone, a single Karma R shield will speed everyone away to safety. Like, Sandbox, even though they're not a late game comp, still has a lot of answers to fight back against Kingzone. That being said, Azir, if it's played by a very efficient player, will get to this point where he can just 1v9 and doesn't matter how bad his teammates play. But so Sandbox has to win the early game. They have to pressure. They don't want to let Kingzone scale. But even then, I really feel that Sandbox definitely outdrafted Kingzone, because Kingzone's only win condition is stall and play for late game and make picks off the Skarner ultimate. But even then, late game, Sandbox is going to have like 5 QSSs on everybody. So, big yikes. Let's get to it. We can fast forward this a bit. Alright, so let's talk about the map for a moment. So, like I said earlier, Sandbox drafted for a early game team comp. And that being said, they want to create action in the early game. They want the Xinjiao to be pressuring in the early game. Right now in the game, there's 2 types of junglers that exist, if you're not talking about like assassins or bruisers. And those 2 types of junglers are single target junglers and AoE junglers. AoE junglers are good at taking the larger camps like Raptors and Krugs, and then single target champions have little choice but to focus more so on one target at a time. Like they have to go like the red buff, the Gromp, the wolves, like comps that don't bring like the camps that don't bring a lot of pain. At the same time, Shinja wants to create a lot of early pressure. So ideally, I think the lanes he wants to attack are going to be, let's say it changes to a blue marker. They're going to be mid. Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So he wants to attack mid lane because that's a early game Azir, not the most mobile thing. It has some ability, but a really easy gank. And then he wants to attack the Aatrox. And the reason why he wants to attack the Aatrox is because Aatrox is going to be looking for a lot of opportunities for trades. And if you, as Xin Zhao, can find a way to get on top of Aatrox while he's trading, let's say Aatrox wastes E for a trade, then that Aatrox is going to die very, very fast. And he has to burn flash. Another thing is that Xin Zhao's toolkit naturally counters Aatrox's because the way Xin Zhao plays, Aatrox is almost never going to get a sweet spot onto Xin Zhao. So this is going to be a very mid lane top focus game for the Xin Zhao. And then the Skarner himself is just going to look mostly to full clear. Skarner is going to look to play safe and just hope that his team allows him to stall. And it's going to go for what I call a bot to top type route, where he just full clears everything in bot lane and works his way to top lane and tries to full clear again. So that being said, I expect that Xin Zhao is going to path like this. He's going to go bang, 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 and after that, he's just going to think about maybe he can go to here. And then Skarner has a few more options he can do because of his AoE, but overall, I expect action in the mid and top lane. So let's get to playing. Blue team has to make plays happen early, and then red team just wants to stall. Let's speed this up a bit. Playback speed to 1.5. Standard 5 point. Okay, so there's one thing we can talk about right now is that red side chooses to put a ward on top of the Raptors, and the reason why they might want to do this is because Xin Zhao can go a cheesy path if he chose to, where he gets to go buff into Wolves and then into Raptors to try to contest against the Skarner. So that early side ward just really helps you prevent cheesy invasions during the early game. Also, if we're talking about lane matchups, Jace will win against Aatrox early. Azir should be able to bully the Akali a bit, and then bot lane is going to be the break-even lane, but the Karma is going to be almost impossible to solo kill. As we predicted, Xin Zhao is going to choose to go bot to top. Going to go straight into his blue buff after red. As we also predicted, Aatrox and Jace are going to be doing a lot of early game dueling. This is probably being communicated to Xin Zhao right now. Top is, as you see, is most likely saying to Xin Zhao, I'm fighting him, I'm pushing into lane, prepare a dive. This is 100% a preparation for an early game dive. And now we're going to pause again and we're going to talk about a ward we just did. So, something that is very common among amateur diamond teams is that the most common places for junglers to die during the early game, I'm going to draw it right now with a yellow marker, are here, not here, let me fix that. Here, look at the minimap. Here, right around here, and then here in the mid lane. And the reason why these are the two most common places for a jungler to die in the early game on amateur teams is because of lack of vision. Where right now, Xin Zhao and Skarner are going to be both walking towards around here. This is way, way too big. So they're going to be walking towards around there. Xin Zhao's going to be here, and then Skarner's going to be here. And then what happens very often, whichever jungler is the first jungler to enter the tri bush gets to just sit in that bush, and then the moment the other jungler walks into the bush, the jungler that walks into the bush blind, while the other jungler out there first, will very quickly die after, just due to pure raw burst. And then oftentimes junglers will also die in the mid lane because they're not keeping track of each other, then they enter unfavorable 2v2s. So because Aatrox recognized he was being pushed in, and he was able to place a ward onto his tri-bush, is very beneficial towards Skarner, because what's going to happen is since Xin Zhao is faster at clearing camps, he's going to reach this bush first, and then both Skarner and Aatrox are going to have the knowledge of this, and they can avoid the overly risky 2v2, and they just go for the safer route. And if Aatrox did not do this, then Xin Zhao would have been in that bush very fast, and he would have just straight up killed Skarner. So if you, as Red Side, want to prevent that early game cheese, make sure you get that tri-bush warded. Naturally, Jace gets a huge lead over Aatrox during the early game. Jace will almost always have a lead over any opponent he has, except like Nico. Xin Zhao has priority over bot lane, so he gets to go for the Scuttle Crab, and if Skarner dares to say, hey, I want that Scuttle Crab, Xin Zhao's just gonna fight him, and even if it was a fair fight, Karma gets to go priority and turn it into a 2v1. That being said, just your normal trades. Karma is able to get a bit of an early game lead, but it's not going to stay to last. Jace has a huge lead during the early game, like all Jace players should. And then Akala is just struggling a little bit because of Azir's superior range and poke. Alright, so just to describe what Jace is actually doing here, is that almost the entire enemy team is pretty positive that Jace is still here. Like, they know he's probably in one of these bushes, so Aatrox is calling Skarner to say, hey, Jace is trapped, Jace is trapped. And so Skarner is in a position where he's looking for the gank, he's looking for a possibility of a fight, but what's really going on is Jace is baiting the enemy team into a false sense of security, and as these two people are here, Xin Zhao is pathing towards topside, and they're going to pincer right here, so they have a chance to just do this and this onto whoever stays here. Whoever stays here, be it Skarner or Aatrox, will die. And so Xin Zhao is over here, and we see what's going to happen. It's going to look exactly like this. Use blast cone, bop, bop, and somebody's going to get bursted down the moment they're not careful. So it's Skarner who walks away, and they just pincer onto him. And this guy's just going to die. And I see that Xin Zhao has such pure raw burst with Jace in the early game that it doesn't matter if it's a 2v2, because if they focus down the same target at the same time, they will 100 to 0 him in a matter of seconds. And they do, so they get first blood. Very well coordinated. Very good job on the Jace for baiting them into false sense of security. So now that they have this early game lead, let's wait for the replay to end. So now that they have this early game lead, Aatrox is very behind. He's 6 CS down and a kill. Well, the kill was given to Xin Zhao, but Jace has the assist. Jace already has his, how do I call it? Execution is calling to negate the healing. And then the Aatrox is forced to build Ninja Tabbies in the early game just to survive some of the poke. And that's not an item you want to build as Aatrox. So now whenever the two of them are entering a one-on-one fight, the Jace will almost always have the advantage here. And so what the Xin Zhao wants to do is that this bot lane is going to be very hard to gank. Because with the Braum ultimate and the Varus ultimate, they basically have two defensive tools to completely, how do I say it, cancel the gank. Because if Xin Zhao chooses to dive here, Varus is just going to CC him, and then Braum is going to lure his ultimate over them so nobody can help the Xin Zhao. So to gank this lane is almost suicidal once they hit level 6. So what Xin Zhao really wants to do here is he wants to have infinite pressure over the top and the mid lane. And if he keeps that infinite pressure over the top and the mid lane, he can contest for that Rift Trail that will spawn in 4 minutes. Because you don't care about this Wind Dragon. Wind Dragon level 1 isn't that useful. So what Kingzone wants to do here is they want to avoid playing against Sandbox. Sandbox has the superior early game. You avoid it. As Kingzone, what you want to do is you want to use your Virus ultimate and use your ultimate to trap people. You want to see somebody by themselves or like the enemy team in an unfavorable situation, and you just keep them stuck at a single location as you lay down DPS. That is the goal of the Kingzone comp. The Kingzone comp is heavily reliant on the Sandbox making a mistake. That's why it almost doesn't make too much sense to draft a Braum here, because the Braum, as I like to put it, is a very... It's like a stop button. The Braum wants you to stop what you're doing. So it would have made more sense to draft a support that helps the offensive identity that Kingzone wants to have with their comp. Jinjiao's just naturally going to where his camps are. He's just farming. That's fine. But overall, you want to keep the fast tempo of the game. And he's going to go back to his blue buff. And as his blue buff spawns, he's going to pressure topside once again, most likely. Yep, see this? He's walking straight to topside. Doesn't even care about his Krugs. He wants to keep that pressure. By going topside, even if he doesn't gank, he is sending pressure to the top side of the jungle that the enemy team has to respect. See? Keep the infinite topside pressure. Don't ever let Aatrox feel safe. And this is how you prep a proper dive. This is, if Scarlet was not here, this would 100% be a dead Aatrox. Because you have a wave to work with. All the Jinjiao has to do is walk behind the Aatrox, press ultimate, knock the Aatrox into Jace, and that's a dead Jace. But make sure you don't auto-attack the Aatrox first, or else you're going to mark him and he's going to stay in place. So what's going to happen? Jinjiao's going into the bushes, he's clearing out the vision, but then he chooses not to go for the gank, because, hey, something is missing. Those Krugs, they're leaning towards the right. Why are they leaning towards the right? Because somebody's farming them. You now know that this is not a safe gank to do. If you do it and you're not fast enough, the Skarner will come in and counter gank with his ultimate. And that's not a risk you want to take. But another thing that you can do is, which is why the Jace is roaming up, is since Jace and Jinjiao, once again, have pure raw burst, the moment... Because the Jinjiao was not caught by any vision. He knows he's not in any vision, so he gets the chance to do this play. He just waits for the Skarner to walk a little bit too close to the left, and then they're going to burst him down. I will say, though, where this play didn't make a lot of sense is why didn't Aatrox report that Jace was leaving his lane? Because with how the Jace responded, you knew that the Jace was kind of doing something fishy. So if I was a Skarner there, granted I'm not a pro player, but I would have took the hint and said, hey, this is looking weird. Why is Jace not in lane? I don't think I have priority to do my Krugs anymore. And now because of this, even though the Jace hasn't gotten any kills, he has a borderline 20 farm lead over the Aatrox. This is worst case scenario. Aatrox has to have the nothing but defensive items. He has the refillable, he has the Doran shield, he has the Ninja Tabby, he even bought the Kindle gem before a Phage. This Aatrox is terrified right now, and he should be. Jinjiao does not care about bot lane. Like we said, bot lane is very difficult to gank. But what's easy to gank is to keep your pressure on the top side, and then maybe if Azir fucks up, you can gank mid later. So now, what we're going to focus on is a dragon is spawning, but Kingzone notices something really good here, and you can see they're already positioning for it. And how do I say it? Sandbox makes a mistake where Karma backs in the improper time and Jinjiao are backing at the improper time. So because that they both back at the exact same time, Kingzone knows they have the numbers advantage to take this dragon. So it needs to happen as Kingzone is going to take this dragon. Sandbox needs to say, okay, we need to make a play somewhere else. Can we get the Rift Herald later? Can we get the Rift Herald around 11 minutes, 12 minutes? Can we keep our infinite topside pressure? So Shinjao, I predict, is going to go for his Krugs, and after his Krugs, he's going to immediately path for the top side if he sees the opportunity to do it. Ganking bot side is also close to impossible because of the sheer raw vision, and Shinjao knows this. But Shinjao's not going to waste any time on bot side. No, this is just silly. This is just silly. Why would you, as Xin Zhao, when you have no mid lane minions to work with, your mid laner is kind of pushed in, why would you contest for this ward? This is a very greedy ward, and now this limits the options that Xin Zhao has for later. You, as Xin Zhao, understand we want to kill this ward, but you do not go for this ward by yourself, especially against a Skarner who can just press ult onto you. Also, this is really nice. So, Sandbox didn't really get much done with it, but they did send the Tom Kench to the top lane earlier. And the reason why you want to send your Tom Kench to the top lane is because Karma is almost never going to die. She has bot lane pressure. She has it pushed in. There's nothing left for Tom Kench to do into the bot side, so you might as well just send your support to roam top or mid. If you have a winning bot side matchup and you're shoving this hard, and you feel that your support's not doing much for you, do not make them stay in lane. Let them roam, let them make cross map pressure, and then as they finish their gank, they will most likely be able to go back to bot side perfectly in time as the wave bounces back towards you. Xin once again keeping his infinite pressure onto the top side. Tom Kent once again understands there's not much for him to do in the bot side, so now they're looking to see is Rift possible. There was a bit of a mistake here. Tom Kent should have been here sooner, and because Tom Kent shows up late, he is contributing DPS to the Rift late. So now Sandbox is in this really weird situation where they have to play almost perfectly or else they'll get pincered. But with the Karma teleport, they're able to get out just fine, and just for the most part, a pretty clean play. Why don't they use the Rift right here? Nope. Okay, so they're unable to shut Volatility because Kingzone actually does a very good job in matching the Tom Kench's pressure. So what's going to happen right now, if Kingzone plays smart, they're going to be stalking this Tom Kench wherever he goes. Like, wherever Tom Kench goes, Varus is going to go. Because they do not want that Rift play to happen. If Rift successfully gets played in, Sandbox will win alone just off the tower plating. Now, in my opinion, Sandbox made one mistake here, where I believe instead of backing, Tom Kench could have hid in a top lane bush and just wait for Forest to go away. And then as they're going away, you can then activate Rift Herald. Yeah, they 100% good at. Tom Kench should have just hid in the bush and waited for them to go away. But now, Tom Kench is in this weird situation where, once again, wherever he goes, Kingzone is going to go. Because they do not want that Rift Herald to get job done. So Rift Herald's in mid, they go mid. However, they have one weakness. While this is a game of cat and mouse, Tom Kench has an ultimate that you can't keep up with. So Tom Kench is just going to go ult with bot, Activate Ritual, and it's gonna be Bless. And then because they have the Ritual and bot, Aatrox is too distracted with the Ritual, and then Sandbox gets priority over Dragon. Big battle happens. Sandbox has a gold lead, and if they play properly, they're just gonna kill everybody. Kingzone should not have even attempted this fight. Like, why are you playing early game? Your comp is not good early game. And that's what we're talking about. Xin Zhao's playstyle completely counters Aatrox's playstyle. So it's really funny that how do I say it? Sandbox makes a bit of a misplay with the Retold, but the misplay kind of works for the best for them. Maybe it was done on purpose too, because like there's two ways you can use Retold. You have the guaranteed way where you take Retold and instantly use it on a lane so you can get some turret plating gold. Or you have the alternative play where you hold it and you look for the perfect Rift Trail where you can get as many towers as possible. The only problem is that if you do it method number 2, it's not guaranteed to work. So you as a team have to decide, do you want to take this risk where you use it for the the ideal scenario, or do you just use it instantly for the safe gold? But now, Sandbox is basically set to win the game. Oh, this is right. With how Sandbox drafted, there is almost no answer for what they do. While they answer what words. While Kingzone has no answers, Sandbox does have answers. Because if Skarner comes in, Karma. Sorry about that, Luke. And now we get to see the true glory of Sandbox's team comp, where they have a nice fusion of poke, rotation, pit creation, and siege. Yeah. Sorry about that. RG season. Now, if Sandbox plays correctly, they just want a 1-3-1. They want to divide up the power of the map. And then, once there's a weak spot, they'll punish the weak spot. So, like, how do I say it? We'll use a blue marker. So, pay attention to me, Matt. So, let's make this a bit bigger. So, they'll have somebody here. They'll have people here, here. And then they're just going to push forward. And then wherever they fuck up, let's say the weakness is mid lane, then everybody will go mid. Or let's say the weakness is top lane, then they all go top. You divert attention, and wherever the weakest point of the map is where you attack the hardest. And this is how proper pro teams play. It's also better this way because you stop your team from sharing gold needlessly. A lot of amateur teams will make the mistake where they just all constantly ARM, and it's just so unproductive because now you're having 5 people share gold and EXP into a single place. So Kali's in the top side, Azir's trying to match, and what Kingzone's trying to do that I disagree with is that they're constantly sending resources to protect the Azir. They have Braum and Skarner in topside almost always, and this is almost silly, because now that they're constantly sending people to protect the Azir, they're able to just claim this mid tower for free, and they're slow in the rotation to stop it. So right now they have Azir matching, and they get nothing out of it, because by trying to match, you give mid and bot towers for free. They're in a very bad situation because Aatrox cannot match Jace and Azir cannot match Akali. And they know that Azir can't match Akali, which is why they're constantly sending two people to top lane. But by sending two people to top lane to defend the Azir from Akali, you lose your mid tower and you lose your dragon pressure. So now very soon, this is gonna be another free dragon for Sandbox. I don't know why, but I want to call him Samsung Blue because of SB. Like, this just makes no sense. Why are you sending two people to topside and now give dragon away for free? Now your wind dragon doesn't even matter. Your wind dragon literally does not matter anymore because now Sandbox has a wind dragon of their own to match it. So you might as well have no dragons at this point. But they also have a red dragon, so they have a dragon over you versus the red dragon you don't have. And it's like, why are you setting up a death bush against Akali? Even if you ulti Akali, she has Twilight Shroud. She has ultimate. She has E. I think she even has your flash up. We'll check right now. She does. Like, there is no way you kill this Akali unless you have 5 people standing in that bush. And even if you have 5 people standing in their bush, there's a good chance the Akali still lives. You cannot kill Akali. She is probably one of the most annoying champions in the game to face against because she has so much safety in her toolkit. And then once again, Jace is able to free farm in the bot lane, get an even bigger lead against Aatrox, and then Karma is able to have infinite pressure on the mid lane because of the lack of reaction and the overinvestment of resources in the top lane. You have no reason to invest this many resources, and now you're going to lose half of your top mid lane tower's health bar. Why would you attempt an ult on this? You're not going to kill Tahm Kench. He has everything. And then even if you did get on top of Tahm Kench, it's probably not going to work out good for you, because if you get on top of Tahm Kench, they're going to be blasted by Karma. Kingzone is playing very sloppy right now. They're trying too hard to make pressure in the early game, and this is what Kingzone should do right now. So I'm going to show a marker right here. Pay attention to minimap. We're going to use red to represent red side. They need to make a wall, and the wall needs to be like this. And you just never go past this wall. And even this might be too far. The wall should probably be more around here. Yeah, it should be around this second one I did. This is where the wall should be. And what this wall is it represents how far you push and how much you should freeze. They want to freeze it right there. They want to place defensive forwards at all the entrances to their jungles, so that way they know what the enemy team is trying to do, and they just avoid fighting. Like, basically your goal is to play League of Legends, but not against the enemy team. You're putting the game on pause. Stall for another 10 minutes. Let Azir hit his safe point, where he's at a really good chance to carry the game by himself, and then you can make something happen. What Kingzone wants to do right now is they want Sandbox to start Baron or Dragon, and then they use the Azir ultimate to trap them inside it, place down the Varus ultimate, and then they can place down the Braum ultimate. Layer the CC together, and let Aatrox create chaos as Sand Soldiers shred people to pieces. But they're not playing it right now. They're having Azir push it to a second tier tower. Right, they're trying to get this second tier tower, but Akali's not going to let you get that second tier tower. You're trying to get that second tier tower, Akali is going to kill you, and because you're sending 2 to 3 people to face an Akali that you can't kill, they have so much pressure onto the mid tower, they have so much pressure on the dragon, and they have so much pressure on the bottom side. Let's get rid of the drawing. Jace is going to continue his infinite pressure on the bottom side that the Aatrox cannot match. Akali will constantly be threatening to kill his ear. So we talked about Kingzone's win conditions. What Kingzone wants to do, they want Sandbox to fuck up, and at the same time they want to play defensive. But what does Sandbox want to do? Sandbox right now wants to keep their 1-3-1 up. They want to force Kingzone into a sense of desperation, and then you punish them for it as Sandbox. And at the same time, if you have Akali on top side, Jason the bot side, and then 3 people into the mid lane, Kingzone cannot defend against all lanes at the same time at this point. They have to sacrifice somewhere. They have to relent somewhere. And where they relent is where you take. And even if you lose a member on the other side of the map, it's worth it because you're probably going to get an inhibitor out of it. Basically, Sandbox wants to bring the pressure to Kingzone. They want to be more active. They want to go into the top side, and they want to start creating vision. As Sandbox, you want to go into top side, clear the vision, and claim all of top side jungle for yourself. Oh, let's just talking about the freezing that I mentioned earlier. Kingzone is looking for it to mess up. Like they're desperately hoping that Sandbox makes a mistake right now. Sandbox is trying to bring the pressure onto them. Shinja's being a bit too overzealous here. Like I said, Sandbox, you don't exactly want to fight right now. You just want to take the vision away from them so you can pressure them. They're buying items. Dragon's gonna spawn soon, so they're probably gonna look for that. It's gonna be a cloud. Yep, they're already rotating for it. That's why Shinja's pathing towards the bottom. But what Kingstone's gonna do right now is that they're probably gonna take advantage of Azir's soldiers. Because Azir's at this point where you have to respect them. This is so good. So basically what Azir's doing right now, and it's kind of smart, but at the same time they're gonna make a big mistake, is by having these soldiers, Kingzone has no safe way to enter into this fight. Because if you try to enter this fight, the soldiers are just going to collapse onto whoever walks in and burst them down. But this is actually a mistake. As Kingzone, you don't want this dragon. Like, you actually don't want this dragon. Because when you look to the bot side, I mean for blue, this mini wave is pressuring in. So as this mid wave is pressuring in onto tower, Sandbox has to go, I mean not Sandbox, Kingzone has to go all the way around here. So they're going to lose this tower for a Wind Dragon. Not worth. Although, if Kingzone had a bigger, like, let's say a what-if scenario, let's say Kingzone was actually winning this game, and that they were the ones with towers, this is actually exactly how you take the dragon, if you have an Azir. You put the Azir at the entrance of where the enemy wants to walk in, you summon all 3 soldiers, and you just use the soldiers to zone. So, it's kind of weird. Compliment them for how they took the dragon, criticize them because this was not the dragon you wanted. And then now, as we mentioned, Sandbox gets to push in right over here. They get this tower. And then Kingzone can't go through here because if they go through here, they're just going to get collapsed on like this. Wrong color. They'll just get collapsed on right here. And then they get checkmated. So no matter what Kingzone does, they're in a checkmate position. Kingzone has no choice but to walk over to like this. And that's not what you want to do as Kingzone. If Kingzone never went for their dragon, they still get to keep that tower. And now without this tower, it's going to be way harder to stall out the game. And now Sandbox also at the same time gets to pressure with how they are, since these guys over here have to. Oh my God, sorry about that. Since these guys over here are all over here, they have to either walk this way or they go through here, which means Sandbox gets to go a straight path up here and contest for that tower. And if they don't choose not to contest for the tower, they get to contest for vision right here. And Skarner and whoever this is right here has to be very, very careful. So very good rotation of the Sandbox. Read your minion waves. They are able to do this because they understood the position of their minion wave. So they're going to push this top wave in. Kingzone behaves appropriately and takes the crit pathing. So Sandbox says, say, okay, top tower no longer possible, and they back off. And that's the way you do proper shot calling. So you take the mid tower, you go, hey, we have a minion wave topside. Let's go top and try to get that top tower. You get to topside, you say, hey, do we still have a minion wave? No, we don't. So now we reset. So you go for the play, accomplish it, call the next play, and then as you're halfway towards the next play, ask yourself if it's still possible. If the answer is yes, you go for the play. If the answer is no, you reset. And you have to do it as quickly as possible so you can keep tempo. So because they reset on time, they're going to keep tempo, and Jace gets to go to bot side, answer that bot wave, keep the bot wave in a good spot. Akali will continue to stay top side, pushes that in, goes to reset. And now what Sandbox really wants to do is they want to keep that top side pressure, they want to keep it warded up, they want to look for those picks, they want to look for those pokes. This was really silly. I have no words to explain this. Why would you as Xin Zhao, without any teammates, E a Skarner? This was dumb. That was dumb. No other words except dumb. This is gonna set them back by at least 4 minutes. 4 to 5 minutes they lose off that play. That's just weird. No words to describe that. So once again, start over, keep to 1-3-1, get division to the top side. You can't afford to play safe. You don't want to let Azir get to this point where he can 1v9. You are on a clock. See, right now, Sandbox is playing really safe right now because the mess up that the Xinjiao had earlier is probably freaking them out mentally. As Sandbox, you cannot afford to play safe. And by play safe, I mean you can't afford to slow down. You have the Xinjiao, you have the Tom Kench, you have to keep these rotations. You can't stop. You have to keep it going. Who cares if you messed up? Try again. Because if you slow down the pace of this game, Kingzone is finally acknowledged that they do need to freeze, that they do need to slow down. Azir is just going to enter a big item point, and there's no way you can stop him anymore. Like, Kingzone is making such a big mistake, constantly sending free people into top lane. Keep your Jason to the bot side. Why are you sending your Jace mid and top? Why are you grouping for these team fights? You can have the Jace pressure the bot side. He's gonna win the 1v1 against the Aatrox. He can poke him out, and as he pokes him out, he can get a bot side tower by himself. Stop having your Jace group and throw away his lead. Like, that wave should have gone for the Karma, and you have a big wave forward to Jace in the bot lane. Why are they sharing resources? Why are they sharing EXP? This is silly. Why are we team fighting? What's also nice about this is we also see that the Skarner is basically useless because of the Karma, because whoever Skarner tries to go on, Karma can just speed up. We see a bit of a poke war. Both teams look pretty confused in what they want to do, but because of the sheer poke that Sandbox has, they get to force Kingzone out of the way. Communication issue here. This was a big communication issue. So, what should have happened here? So, this is what happened. So, first piece of advice, if somebody's flanking you, always turn on the flank. Which is why the flanker always has to have really good communication with his team. I'm going to use yellow to represent blue team here. So, as Fleek is going around here, these guys need to keep moving forward. Like, they need to basically, they want to trap these guys to be right around here where Braum is. Like, around this range. And then, as you trap them in, there's just nowhere left for them to go. And through the sheer burst of the Karma, the Jace, and the Xin Zhao, you will kill them. You will burst them down. But because the Xin Zhao reveals himself too early, the red team is able to just go boink, 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 bye-bye Xin Zhao. And so then Xin Zhao dies right here. So, communication error. Xin Zhao revealed himself way too early. Jace actually saves his play. Jace is the reason why this play doesn't go too terrible. Jace being able to get behind and defend the Xin Zhao for just mere seconds rescues this entire play, and they get to get the Earth Dragon. So Summit is playing very exceptionally well this game. Now this is just silly. Why would you do this Baron without taking out vision? So right now, Sandbox is confused what they need to do here. They don't understand that they're a proper 1-for-1 comp yet. They are sending people to the wrong places. They're trying to force these team fights where they don't need to force team fights. And then you can see them looking desperate to start this Baron, even though they don't need to be. And then LS is doing what I was talking about, what I was complaining about earlier, where Sandbox is just playing way too slow, not playing the comp properly, and they're allowing Kingzone to scale. Alright, this game should have ended 4 minutes ago. And it goes down to the misplace that Xin Zhao is creating by just basically being the first one to check and not communicating properly with his team, which results in him dying for nothing. Like, why is Kingzone creating vision and preparing things when Sandbox should be the ones doing it? Why is Jace grouping once again? Sandbox is finally realized that they need to do something. They realize that they need to contest for this vision. And they're looking for the flank, so this is good. Very good play. In my opinion, Summon is the MVP of this game. Like, Summon just did so much work this game. And this is how you play the poke comps. You poke people out and you force them to go away. Then with the Tomcats, you can never successfully, like, how do I say it? Poke people out, and you can never really make picks. Kingzone's comp is very, very countered by the way Sandbox plays their comp. We're looking for the fights, poking them out, trying to force them into unfavorable scenarios. Sandbox is waiting for Kingzone to step too far forward, and then they go for a flank. This is really nice. Sandbox wins the game right now. Yeah, Sandbox wins off this play. Rascal's trying to kill the minion wave, so because if they kill the minion wave, they save their base. But Rascal's not going to do it in time, and so because of that, they lose the game. Yeah, like why was Kingzone pressuring for mid turrets? So criticisms to each team. Kingzone, you're playing a late game team comp. For some reason, you chose to draft Skarner, even though there was many different tank junglers you could have gone for. You could have gone for a Sack. You could have gone for a Olaf. Even you could have gone for a Jarvan, but you didn't go for those things, and you drafted the Skarner, which is easily countered by Karma, hard countered by Karma. And once again, you're playing a late game comp. You're trying too many games. I mean, too many plays during the early game. And because you tried to pressure hard in the early game, you end up with this whole gold deficit. And then because you chose not to freeze and pressure onto top lane, you lose mid and bot lane pressure for free. And eventually your base just gets taken apart because you're just putting resources into the wrong areas in the map. As for my criticisms onto Sandbox, they have a 1-3-1 comp. They didn't really play the 1-3-1 enough, and because they were forcing team fights where they didn't need to be forcing team fights, Azir was able to get put in some work. Skarno got some picks he should have never been able to go into, and at the same time, Xin Zhao should not be checking these bushes by himself. He should be calling for his team. So my big advice towards Sandbox would be I want to see them work around topside better. I want to see them look for vision better. And I really want them to understand the win conditions of their team comp better. That being said, Luke, my name is Phantom, and I hope you enjoyed this video.